We have a special introduction for some of our guests that we have coming onto the show. Todd, do you know what today is?
Isn't it like national, well, for me, it's always like drink a beer day, but I don't think that's the official day. So no, I don't know, Megan. Tell me what today is.
It is National High Five Day, a day for support, a day for encouragement, a day for your fellow community and lifting them up. But we, of course, air five today.
High fives, and you know what? These virtual high fives are really sanitary. I like it. They're awesome. I can go everywhere. I tell my kids will love that. They love giving high fives, so that's all cool.
And in all honesty, that's the theme for today, right?
Okay.
Get Virtual is always a platform to be able to amplify these resilient stories, these nonprofits that are working together and collaborating with businesses. So we have a really awesome show.
Now, wait a minute. You also told me to bring something with me for this show. And, it's spring, so I had to go dig through the basement to find them. But I want to know, why am I supposed to bring these?
Well, that's a great introduction for our first guest. We have Melissa representing Goggles for Docs all the way from the East Coast. Thanks for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. You both look fantastic.
I know. This is really kind of neat. I didn't realize. I normally have a helmet on, but now it looks like I still got a helmet. Now it's just a white helmet. But so, Goggles for Docs. What is this? Explain a little bit about it. And I'm going to take mine and move mine up so I can see what's going on here.
Okay. Well, actually, having you both putting those on is a perfect example of how well they protect your eyes.
Right.
And so just keep that in mind. So Goggles for Docs was started 20 days ago. Total grassroots effort and essentially is to provide healthcare workers with snow sports goggles as they treat COVID-19 patients on the front line. Many, many doctors, first responders don't have the proper eye protection that they needed. So a gentleman named John Schaefer, who is the general manager for Berkshire East, which is a resort in Western Massachusetts, got an email from a doctor in New York City on March 28th and said, hey, my colleagues and I, we don't have enough eye protection. Do you guys have any old goggles? That would be helpful. And he put that out on Facebook to his people. And then the next thing you know, in the morning, he woke up to 200 emails saying, I've got goggles. And it snowballed from there. So this is very much a grassroots crowd-funded effort to get goggles in the hands of these doctors.
Cool.
And so to date, after 20 days, we have donated nearly 30,000 goggles to hospitals and clinics, not just in North America, but in Canada, as well as Europe, and Australia has created their own movement. So has Argentina. So it's pretty incredible.
Wow.
And tell us how this platform is represented here for us locally, and then also how individuals can get involved to be able to, whether that be a donation, whether that be a need, things like that.
Okay, so there's a website, it's called gogglesfordocs.com, and it's very simple, and it actually walks you very easily through the process. If you are a hospital or a clinic that needs goggles, there's an area for you to apply for that, and we have a team of people that vet these requests, and once they're vetted and approved, they go up online. And so like you or I, if we had extra goggles in your house, which I know you both have at least one pair, since you just showed them to me, and you want to donate them, you can get on gogglesfordocs.com and look at the hospitals that are in need. And so from there, we have a full description of how you should best clean and prepare your goggles for shipment. And you can either ship them yourself to one of those hospitals, or you can drop them off at one of the drop-off locations. And in the Truckee area, in the Tahoe area, there are 8 different locations for drop-offs, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
So what you can do is you'll see those locations right on our website. For example, we were just talking about Tahoe Sports Club as one of those locations, because I know the High Fives team, they dropped off a dozen pair recently, which is wonderful. And we have a regional volunteer that goes, picks those up and ships those off to the needed hospitals. So it's really this amazing tag team effort that we have. But right in Tahoe where you guys are, there's definitely tons of places for you to drop off if you can't ship.
And what's so cool about this, you don't seem to have, well, that you're coordinating this, you're just kind of helping coordinate and organize this whole thing. That is a lot of work, but still amazing that you have that forethought to actually do that. I do have one question though. What about, like, does it matter if they're tinted or not tinted? Do you have a problem with that at all, or anything will work?
That's actually a really good question. Ideally, they'll take anything, because if you think about it, a cough to the face when you're treating COVID patients, you know, they'll take whatever they can get if it protects their eyes. So if you have the clear lens, that's definitely more preferred. But what we've been doing is giving those tinted goggles to first responders, EMTs, because they're outdoors. So that you know, like I said, we'll take anything.
And I suppose it's not like you're doing brain surgery necessarily for a COVID cough. You're just trying to address symptoms and then get them into a spot where they need and get tested and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
wow, amazing.
And again, you know, there are so many different hospitals. Right now we are vetting, I think, up to 5,000 requests in total for goggles. And, you know, obviously that's broken out into the different hospitals and clinics around the world, but that just puts that in perspective. So there's so much more work to be done. There's a team of us, and we're all volunteering our time. Most of us are skiers, snowboarders, mountain bikers, moto athletes, you know, because we all wear those goggles, and we have the passion. And for so many of us sitting at home, we're like, what can we do? Right. And this is the way for all of us to do that. And this community, the action sports community, is so incredibly strong. And the response has been incredible, including from people, and then as well as the goggle companies too, who have been so incredibly generous.
And now a big thing that I had heard too was sponsoring shipments is also super important, right? Because it actually costs quite a bit to ship these goggles in, you know, the amounts that you're shipping, whether it be 20, 30, 40, 100. So how can businesses kind of almost sponsor a shipment?
So that's a really good question. And that's actually something that we're working on right now. We do have locations, you know, we have some of the resorts actually in Tahoe, for example, Sierra, Homewood, Sugar Bowl, Boreal, they've all stepped up to be whether donating or shipping. So larger companies like that are offering to do that with those regional drop-off locations. But we are working on a relationship with a shipper so we can actually do that for some of those larger shipments. But right now, people can, obviously they're donating goggles, but they can offer a financial donation through Reverb on their website. And we're collecting that not only to buy goggles wholesale to ship, but again, we're trying to work on that relationship for a larger, you know, to pay for shipping.
Amazing. So, I mean, I'm 20 days old. I didn't expect you to have all the answers, but amazing what you guys have got accomplished in 20 days. It's funny because you said, yeah, this is 20, and you know, you always expect it to be followed by years. Days, it's like, wow. So amazing accomplishments, tremendous stuff, and what you're doing out there. And one more time, how can people get in contact? It's just simple. What is it?
It's gogglesfordocs.com. We're also on social media, so please follow us there, but hop on that website and see what you can do to help. We appreciate anything. Thank you.
Tremendous.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. You get a virtual Air 5 to you and your team. Thank you so much. And if you haven't followed their platform yet, please do. They're showcasing stories all the time. And I actually just saw a team of nurses and doctors in the Bronx that received a shipment from Tahoe Truckee. And the pictures are extraordinary.
Very cool. Yeah, it's like I said, awesome team effort. Thank you.
And they might even be from actually High Fives Foundation with Roy and Landon, who are joining us, because you guys just shipped out a handful or donated actually quite a few goggles recently.
Yeah, I can't actually take the credit for it outside of our amazing operations and media manager by the name of Becca Lafonowitz, her and her boyfriend Tucker Andrews. went down one of the first days that one of those drop spots that were mentioned, Melissa said, one of the 8 spots, Tahoe Sports Hub down on West River Street. And they dropped off about a dozen goggles. So yes, I can say that but the we is truly Becca Lafonowitz and Tucker Andrews.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and kick off National High Fives Day with the High Fives Foundation. You guys are doing extraordinary things in the community to pay it forward now, but also for years. Tell us how High Fives Foundation started.
So let's first see if I can do this. I'm facing Todd. So if I go like this, Todd, can we high five right now?
Yes.
Oh, whoa. Nope. Other way. Go to the other side of the screen. Boom. Okay.
See, on my screen,
okay.
On my screen, it's like this. I got to do this, but that's okay. How about this? Go straight to the camera.
Boom. There we go. High Fives Foundation was a way for myself to pay it forward. In 2006, I went about 130 feet on a 100-foot jump in Mammoth, California, and burst fractured my T12 vertebrae. The community of Lake Tahoe and where I was from, Vermont, came together, raised a bunch of money, so I was able to focus on recovery. And when I got through that process, it really said to me, hey, I need to do more. Other folks would fall into the same shoes that I did. So why not say thank you to everybody who supported me by creating something that would support a larger mass of folks. So 2009, 11 years we've been around as an organization.
Wow.
Started High Fives. We've helped 300 individuals and veterans from 38 states across the country through life-changing injuries and safety education platform. And we have this amazing, what is behind me, this fake, it makes it look like I'm in an office. We have this beautiful 4,000 square foot facility in Truckee that houses the C.R. Johnson Healing Center. Has every different modality of healing, personal training, physical therapy, acupuncture, massage, and it's at no cost, no question to any High Fives athlete.
Wow.
So we really feel like we throw a big safety net over the outdoor sports community. And that's what we see as an organization, is by casting a net of safety over the outdoors.
Wow. Now, Landon, you're actually a High Fives Foundation athlete. Now, I was hearing a little bit of stuff you're doing beforehand and post-injury and pre-injury. I mean, you're making me feel pretty bad. I don't think I do hardly anything half what you're doing now or even before or whenever. So make me feel more bad. Tell me all the stuff you're doing. I mean, sorry, that was my fault. There you go.
I've been super fortunate. I got connected with High Fives in January of 2011 after I hurt myself in July the following year, so only 6 months prior to my accident. They were a small foundation. I was athlete number 9 at the time. We now support 300 individuals. So I've just been fortunate to have all these opportunities with High Fives. I've gone water skiing. The first time I went down and hung out with them, they taught me how to sit ski. I've been surfing, mountain biking, pretty much anything that I thought I may have lost after learning of my injury. High Fives showed me that that wasn't the case and that there was ways to do it and it would be just as fun.
Now, your foundation has been supporting injured athletes, rehabilitation, motivation, all that. You've been paying it forward, right, for 11 years. And now COVID-19 presented itself. And now with social distancing and things like that, you have reinvented yourselves to still continue this message of support. So would love to kind of hear about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing the same program services of the foundation. We've had to tone them back by about 33%. We're still giving out fiscal grants. We're still, when possible, operating this healing center and then also our safety messaging program basics. But in this time of need, we've partnered up with 2 great individuals in the Reno Tahoe area, Dr. James Lynch and then Kaya Stanley. Stanley Restaurant Group, Granite Street Eatery, and then Dr. Lynch, IEX, Spine Nevada, Swift Urgent Care. Almost any medical thing that is not renowned in the Reno area is Dr. James Lynch. They put together a program. And the only problem is they didn't have a fiscal partner for it so that they could get a nonprofit partner. Dr. Lynch sits on our board of directors. It was a natural fit for us to step in and be that fiscal partner. So we, through their efforts, are providing over 451 meals to first responders, nurse, staff, doctors that are all in the Reno Tahoe, 6 different hospitals throughout our region, so that there isn't ever a need for food for them while they're already doing so much. Let's make sure that they're fueled and they have the energy. But the cooler part than that, because I mean, what's cooler than that other than Goggles for Docs? The truth is that it's also giving restaurants opportunities to still get revenue. So every restaurant can charge. So the money being raised is going back to pay for a specific cost on every meal from a restaurant. So it's keeping revenue going through a restaurant chain as well. From a standpoint of like, what could you address the most in an area? I really think that, being able to be a part of this has given us that opportunity. And, we're so blessed that, Dr. Lynch and the Stanley family, had spearheaded this and we're able to step in and add that component to give it that nonprofit status.
Wow. And that's really amazing. I mean, and we've had them on before, and as it's been growing, like you were saying, on so many different levels, from the nonprofit to the, helping out with the first responders, all the way to helping the restaurants and their staff and keeping that money flowing in the community. Just amazing stuff going on there. Landon, I'd love to hear some more stuff of what you've been able to achieve through the High Five Foundation. I mean, some of these accomplishments are quite remarkable, I believe.
Yeah, like I said, super fortunate. I've got to try a bunch of stuff. Most recently, I've been able to get back on mountain bike, which is my biggest passion before my accident, and kind of disappeared on me for a few years. And there's this new bike that's come out called a Bowhead, and it's allowing me to ride pretty similar to how I did before my accident. We went in. It took a lot of work, but we found this big jump and went and rode it a couple of weeks ago before all this started going down, and the feeling of flying through the air again was pretty incredible.
To tie it all together, right? Here you're an athlete, you go through this traumatic injury, right? You have to build yourself back up. Now you're seeing yourself be able to perform in ways that you never imagined. To kind of tie that together to this environment right now, what would be kind of like a life lesson or a takeaway that all of us can relate to right now?
Right. And yeah, when I've done some talks and stuff, and what I say is like positive thinking and goal setting. Not everyone has to go through a traumatic injury, but everyone is going through something that is tough, and just staying positive and working your way through that. Things are going to work out if you stay positive and work hard.
That's a great life lesson that, it's more determination, positivity, your attitude, and the work you put into something that can really, decide where you can get to. And we got our final guest coming on right here. And I know Robin personally, so I can kind of say a few things. He's he's done some amazing talents, but, it's not because he's a super athlete. He's a normal guy like me, more likely. But, it's hard work and determination that's been able to do this, So not trying to say you're an average Joe, Robin, but,
That's okay.
Kind of.
He's just a little more active than you, Todd.
For now. Guys, High Five Foundation, great job.
High fives.
Reinventing yourselves and being out there and still giving back to the community, even though you can't give away, are tremendous, great example for people. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely. Talking about positivity and your way of thinking. Landon joined us again.
I know, I got rid of Robin on accident. Robin.
Todd's got a lot of guests that he's managing right now.
I know, and the thing doesn't always let me do the things I want to do, but we'll get there. Oh man, where's it at? Technical problem.
That's a typical day, to be completely honest.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Oh, we'll bring Robin back now. Here he comes.
Hey there.
Hey.
Back, Robin. How about yourself?
He was better. Yeah.
We just had some major IT problems in the back room somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But we just finished on that note about positivity and your way of thinking, right? And every day each of us wake up and we determine how we feel, how we move forward, our perspective, right? So with everything that you've been through, Robin, give us a little background on some of your accomplishments that you're so humble about, but things that you've been able to persevere through.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for having me on, guys. You're right, Megan. I mean, in some regard, each day we're given a choice when we're dealt adversity, right? You can choose to be beaten by it, or you can choose to learn something from it. And I think everybody goes through adversity. So, kind of the really, really quick 50,000 foot version of a view of what I've able to, the process I'm going through. When I was, I grew up in a single parent family, a couple of brothers on an art teacher's salary. And I dreamt of climbing big mountains and being successful in a professional way also. And, as a kid in a family that we didn't have a lot of money and means, but, dreaming about these big things, those mountains may as well have been on the planet Mars. It's just so far away, so big, so massive in scale and dreams that you're like, well, how do I even do that? Well, like everything else in life, right? You take one step at a time towards that goal. And so fortunately through the years, I've been sort of marching towards that goal and enjoying the journey along the way, climbing peaks all over the world, and culminating in my climb of Everest in May of last year. And that was a lifelong goal of mine. And so that's been an amazing journey to do that, particularly, where I started from and where I'm going to. I've really enjoyed this journey, and I've learned a lot along the way. And also, it's not just about those adventures. It's about the adventures of life, my professional career, setting goals that way. And so having, some level of success there as well. So that's been a great journey with plenty of bumps in the road. But it's been fantastic to go through it and learning a lot as you go.
So quite honestly, it's hard to get your talk. And I've heard you talk about your climbing of Everest. And I've always said, one of the neat things about it is I've heard other people talk about Everest, and you always hear them talk about, I'm a super athlete and I've been able to do this and I can do that. And, you hear these people talk and it's just like, wow, I can never do that. And when you were talking about the hardships and the things you've had to go through, I think the one thing that really impressed me, and a lot of our guests today is, everyone's dealt adversity, problems, in their lives. It's how we deal with them, how we overcome them, how we plan, what we do to get through there. And we're all in a pretty adverse situation right now, right? Mm-hmm. And, that's something we've been trying to say, don't feel like you're in this alone. You should just give up, definitely, reach out, ask for help. There's no shame in that. We can all help one another. And I think as a society, I really feel that we can come out of this a lot better than we went into it, because we're having to work to stay together right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's an analogy to training and athleticism. You're training against resistance. That's what makes you stronger. When it's all smooth sailing, you don't learn as much. You don't get as strong. You're not quite as sharp, because you're not having to deal with forks in the road along the way. So really, this adversity, if we spin it around and try to be an optimist about it, it really is the resistance training that we can actually use to come out of this. This is a point in time. It's a point in time. A little while out, we don't know exactly how long, but not too far in the distant future, this will be a point in time in the past, and we're really going to appreciate anything that we did right now to learn the lessons of what this is to teach us. And there's a bunch of different ones there, maybe about generosity, maybe about, do we need all the stuff that we have to have according to our lifestyle and all that kind of thing? Or is there a business idea? Any of this stuff are just potential positives. And I've read a very interesting difference between optimism and sort of positivity. positivity is this sort of gushy, just sort of flowery, hey, everything's great, don't worry about it, I'm always positive. Well, that's not what optimism is. Optimism is believing and having hope for the future. That's what we want, is optimism. Hey, we know it's bad. We do. But in the future, it's going to be better, and we all have to have that hope and optimism looking ahead.
Wow.
Good point.
Just processing it, right? That's so true. I think we need to change our hashtag, pass on the positive. I think we got to pass on the optimism.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, Todd, you mentioned real quick, I put together a list of things in the past year about some overlaps between, mountaineering and sort of the professional journey that people might be on. And one of those is the preparation. And, people have asked me along the way, well, how hard was the climb? To be honest, I don't know how to answer that. What you should ask is, how hard was the preparation?
Right.
Because the climb, you're executing.
Right.
The preparation, I give huge kudos to all of our previous guests and anybody else out there who is by themselves working really, really hard, doing whatever they got to do to make it. And no one's there to watch their effort. That's what preparation is when no one's there to watch you doing what you're doing, and you're doing it anyway, and you're working hard, and there's blood, sweat, and tears. And so that's the hard part. Getting there, the game or whatever, the event, isn't the hard part. So this is now, I salute any of these people out here that are in our community, that are working hard, and no one's there to see it, but you're doing it anyway.
Right. It's sort of like, how long did it take you to climb Everest? Oh, about 50 years. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
I have one last question before we let you go. Will you be running for president ever?
Right. Yeah. I have too many adventures to go on. Darn it.
DeSoto campaign. Here we go.
Oh,
yeah. I'm happy to help anybody I can, but I'll leave the politics to the politicians.
Thank you so much for joining us, Robin.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible words to leave us all with in our viewers.
Thanks so much, guys.
Are you going to be doing any talks about your Everest adventures on Zoom or anything like that, or any webinars or anything like that? It might be a nice little speech, or do you have anything planned in the future?
I have a couple of sort of more corporate related stuff, but nothing publicly yet. But you never know. You never know if there's something. If there's a message there that I can get out to inspire anybody, that's what wakes me up in the morning. So I'm happy to do that kind of stuff.
And you actually have a day job, I believe, don't you?
Yes, I run a whole fiduciary advisor company, and we've got offices in 4 states and clients in most of the states of the U.S. and keeps us quite busy these days.
I don't suppose you have a website you want to tell us real quick, just because we should probably plug you a little bit.
Hey, why not? It's PalisadeInvestments.com. We're fiduciary investment advisors, and we've always been fiduciary investment advisors, putting people first. That's what we do.
Awesome. So if you're looking for something like that in this climate, might be worth it. All right. Thanks a lot, Rob. I'm glad you could join.
I like to say, has your investor climbed Mount Everest? I just did.
Talk to you later, Robin. Thanks,
guys.
Thank you. Another plug to him real quick. He's not just climbing. He didn't just climb Everest. He's on his journey towards the 7 summits, the tallest peaks, the tallest summits on each continent. So, talk about someone who's persevered and gone through so many challenges, and how inspiring that was.
Yeah. And like I said, I have heard his talk before when he talks about it, and it is quite amazing, just showing to make a plan, to figure it out, to set a goal, and to, one step at a time to achieve that goal. Just amazing stuff. And it's those type of stories that make you realize that, yes, this is possible. We can get through this. None of us know where we're going to be on the other end, but right now, it is kind of about focusing on that next step. What do we do next? trying to pass on the positivity or the optimism, whatever we want to call it. But, it is important that we do that. And we've said this before, don't feel like you're alone. If you need help from anybody, and maybe it's just one day, you just need to talk to someone, blow off steam, reach out to people. I think everyone's kind of in the same situation. And if there's any one time in the history of the world where almost everyone can understand what you're going through, it's now.
Absolutely. And if you have a story that you'd like to share or something that you'd like to see amplified, send us an email at renotahoe@planmygetaway.com. Subject line, get virtual. We would love to hear from you. And then of course, the louder we can be, the more everyone knows about these incredible stories and nonprofits and people really coming together. So please please share, please comment, spread the word. And that wraps up our National High Five Day. It was pretty rad.
Thanks, Megan. This is awesome. All right, guys. See you, everyone. Bye.
High five.